welcome. You are here with Dr. Nilda Perez with Business Foresight, creating strategies towards your extraordinary future. Hello and welcome back to Dr. Nilda Perez Foresight Radio. Today is a very exciting day. I just want you to understand that I am just as excited to bring this information to you as you guys are to receive it. And today I'm going to be discussing, we've been talking about innovation for the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks. But today I am going to tell you, we're going to talk about foresight, strategic foresight, and how to prepare your business for the future. All of this really, you're going to realize all of this goes hand in hand and all of it comes together. So as always, I love to have you guys listen in and participate in following the trainings. I love to hear from you on Facebook, on private email, on any calls, however you guys want to get a hold of me. I love hearing from you and, to be able to help me help you, because that's the main thing. So I want you to be able to follow with me with the worksheet. And these worksheets are specifically so that you can follow through, not just follow along with me, but to be able to jot down notes, jot down things that mean something to you. I always give you questions so that I know that you're paying attention. So if you want to follow along with me, I want you to go to drnildaperez.com/worksheet. Again, drnildaperez.com/worksheet. I really think it's really important for you to do this, and the people that have been using it are actually loving it, and they're telling me that they're retaining the things that I'm talking about, which is, to me, is so fascinating. So I also want to talk to you about the guest that we have today. The guest that we have today is Dr. Peter Rios. And Dr. Rios is also a foresight strategist and a colleague. We graduated from the same program and the same school. He is the CEO of Rios, a company, which I'll be explaining to you a little bit more about this, but he has positioned his business to help other business position themselves for the future with this whole diversity, because Latinos are really, there's a big shift in leadership and the direction that we're going, and he has been a catalyst in helping other Latinos and other businesses to be able to position themselves. So I'm really excited to have him, and you're going to be listening in on his interview really soon, and I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to dive into the training, and the training is competing for the future. That's really what. So if you knew that having a crystal ball would ensure that you would know the future of the direction that your business is going, would you not have a crystal ball? Well, we all kind of know that that's not necessarily the best scenario, but how about if you knew that having the tools, or having the appropriate tools, you will be able to avoid pitfalls and failures in your business. You will be able to have these to give you more certainty as to the direction that you're going. So I want to define strategic foresight. Strategic foresight is forecasting. And with forecast, right, that we always get ready, but it's not ever 100%. They say, a 70% chance of rain, an 80% chance of rain. And for the most part, it's right. Then every now and then the sun will come out and you're like, hey, whatever happened with that? But for the most part, they're accurate. Well, that's what strategic foresight is having the tools to be able to help you to have an idea of the direction that the business is going, the industry is going, and the changes that are going to be happening. So we call it a guesstimation, but I think it's a little bit more than a guesstimation. Strategic foresight does pretty much the same thing that forecast does, except that you have tools that help you to be able to layer and understand the direction that you want your business to go. you have like a blueprint and a map that breaks down the details of each portion of your business. So you kind of look at your business as a whole, and then you're able to have an estimate of, okay, so this is the direction that I wanted. We do scenario planning. We look at different areas, different things that are possibilities, and we build on that to be able to give you that blueprint or that idea of the direction that you're going. I tell you one thing is much better than navigating in the dark and not having a clue where you're going. Nobody would think of going to an address that they've never been to without a GPS. And so strategic foresight really just starts kind of building that, and it starts giving it's that idea of the direction that you're going. We all know that sometimes the GPS takes us the long way, but here the thing is that the idea is that it will get us there. We know for certain that it'll get us there. And it may not be the way we want it and in the time that we want it, but it's going to get us there. Strategic foresight just kind of, it is, I think, is the closest idea to the examples that I've been giving you. So most businesses that are looking for growth and are looking for change always have a strategic plan. And because the strategic plan forces you to analyze a variety of factors. Typically, you look at things that are measurable, adjustable, resourceful, and a well-calculated goal. So that's what a strategic plan is. The goal and the objective of a strategic plan is to allow you to see your business and all the aspects of your business, your clientele, your competitors, to make the decisions based on the information that you have, the finances, how much did you bring in, how much, what are the areas that are bringing, generating the most income. So that's what a strategic plan is, and that's great. So although having a strategic plan is great, it doesn't really allow you to have the insight and the discernment that you need to anticipate the future of your business. So you have to look at your company, and it gives you, maybe you'll know what's going to happen in the next 6 months or in the next year. But you have to understand, with changes happening so rapidly, you want to really have like a bird's eye view as to the future. You want to not just look at what you have here and now, but you want to be able to look like way beyond that. So as a result of that foresight, the strategies is the preparation or plan to improve competitiveness and performance. Businesses create strategies for marketing and cost reduction, differentiation, and focus on growth. Foresight is having that foreknowledge to foresee the future. It's kind of a barometer of the future. It's forecasting possibilities and making well-researched assumptions. And that's what I'm telling you about. That's why I talk to you a lot about the tools. So that's where those tools come in. Strategic foresight is about understanding the imminent external changes and how they may impact internal capabilities. Like, how are they going to impact internally your business? And so what these external factors are, these are drivers that can change. So there may be a direction that you're going, but there may be something that will stop you. It may be a change in the economy, a change in environment. Suddenly, there's there's a flood, or of course, and you can never totally anticipate for that, but you kind of prepare for all these different areas in a business with strategic foresight. So taking that, analyzing that is really the best way to go. Strategic foresight is about combining futures work with those of strategic management. So, here we are, we have strategies for growing the business. So you're taking that future and you're combining that with your strategic plan. It's about understanding upcoming external changes. Like, what are the things, the possibilities of, political, what's going on politically. And we spoke about that. We use a model that's called STEEP. Social, technological, environmental, economical, and political. These are all things that can impact a business. I mean, the economy changes, that affects your business, but you have to also remember that another thing that's a huge impact in business is political. There's a political change. There's a political climate. Socially, what's going on socially? All of these things have an impact, and we want to be able to analyze all of these things to be able to get, to find that what we call preferred future. So we want to know what the drivers of events or situations that occur that impact business operations, either positively or negatively. We want to know because you know what? Sometimes there's an opportunity that we may have totally missed. And, so remember, we're not just looking at negatives, we also are looking for positives and things that we can like jump on before anybody even realizes it. So these are the things that can either help or change what happens in the future. And you want to always, like, again, these are things that you have to be like kind of scoping this out. So just like meteorologists, right? They take educated guess because it's not just a guess like, oh, I think it's gonna, let me see. I think, the finger up in the air and say, I think it's going to rain today. Or no, they really are analyzing and researching, and they know more or less the direction of where a storm is going, what's coming up. Foresight strategists. That's exactly what we do. We observe the past, the present patterns, and the trends that are coming up, and we forecast a future in that industry, in business as a whole. So again, it could be as specific or as broad as we need to be. So meteorologists, like foresight strategists, use tools that help them to be able to become to the closest accuracy as possible. It's considering the possible and probable futures of your industry and other industries, because other industries can also impact your business. It's not just one-sided. There are all these other factors. And the other thing is, you can also pull from other industries to be able to make changes in your own. So strategic foresight is understanding company competencies. And all that means is understanding the strengths and the talents and the skills of your business. What are the strengths that you have in that company? And also, you look at your competitors. What are their strengths? Because you need to understand what their strengths are so that, remember, it's a competition. So you want to understand what their strengths are, which is all well and good, but we're going to go a whole different direction because remember and we're going to be talking about this for a while. What you want to do is stand out from your competition so far that you have no competition, but you still need to understand what they're doing because at the moment they're your competitors. So the blessing is that today there are so many ways to be able to create your future there, and to anticipate the direction that you want and the results that you want to generate in your business. You want to generate confidence and certainty in the future, and you want to be able to really have a handle as to the direction that your business is going. That is a possibility. Things do not have to be left to chance. And that's the beauty of this, because we're in a very exciting time where things are available that were never available before to be able to put you in that position. So that is the blessing that we have today, to be able to create that future and to be able to have that foresight. And I cannot stress enough, foresight is something that, although we have tools today that we didn't have before, it's been something that we have to go back historically, even as far back as the Bible, where there were always those few people that foresaw the future and prepared for it. Joseph was one of those people that he foresaw what would be happening years before, and he was able to help Pharaoh to be able to position himself for that. And that's the exciting part, that we have that availability today for even small businesses. And I think as people, as humans, as business owners, as leaders, we want to be able to tap into that foresight and to be able to look for the possibilities and the direction that you want your business to go. So that will end today's today's training, and I really look forward to seeing you next week and to be able to pick this topic up and keep going and being able to help you, because that to me is the most exciting part, how I can help you position yourself for a preferred future. Foresight Strategies is preparing yourself for a prepared future. So I look forward to seeing you guys really soon. And we're now going to go to the next part of Peter Rios. Pedro Rios is an educator and a professor of organizational strategies, a consultant. He is also the CEO of Rios Robust Innovation Organizational Solutions, which I think is genius. I love the way you did that with your last name. He focused on the Latino diversity issues within higher education, the church, and the marketplace. He holds a doctorate in strategic leadership and foresight strategies from Regent University, and he is currently pursuing a PhD in intercultural studies because the first doctorate was not enough to kill him. Okay, welcome, Dr. Rios, and thank you so much. I am so honored and so blessed to have you. So talk to me.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a privilege to be speaking with you, Dr. Perez, and I'm a fan of all your work and what you're doing with the Latino community. And since I read your book, it was part of my research. I've been intrigued with what you're doing, and so aquí estamos para empoderar la comunidad latina.
Exacto. So this is awesome. So I want to start by asking you, what is diversity strategy? Because you're a diversity strategist. You made that clear. Although I know that you're educationally, and I want to know how this is also going to play into, because we both studied foresight, and I know that is such a huge. It's new, but it's such a huge what do we want to call it? Come on, help me out here. It's really a very broad degree, but basically what it is futurist. Son estrategias de diversidad y como nos dicen futuristas, right? So tell me a little bit about why.
Well, I think for me, diversity, I embody it as a Puerto Rican, right? Born and raised in New York, but having the identity of the island, right, of Puerto Rico. And so, as a Puerto Rican, as a Hispanic Latino, I embody diversity. We are a multitude of people within us. That's part of our identity. But then here in the United States, we have other Latinos, other Hispanics that come from other places. Then we have African Americans, Asians, everybody. We have Anglo. So we have a multitude of diversity in the United States. This is our context, where we're at right now. And I think it's important understanding the demographic shifts, right? By 2035, being a futurist, looking ahead, we will have a majority minority culture. So the Anglo culture will no longer be the majority, but the majority minority, which is, a nation of color, right? So we need to prepare for that. We need to prepare for that in our systems, in our education, in our churches, in our businesses. And so how do we do that? Well, that's my interest, and that's where I'm at. And then in particular, that's where I'm jumping into another doctorate into cultural studies, so I can kind of close the loop. So yeah, the first doctorate was enough, but I think if you do anybody who does a doctorate understands that you fall in love with learning. So aquí estamos para aprender, para ayudar a la gente a diversidad en su negocio, en su iglesia, en su educación, en su organización, para mover este tema para adelante.
Exacto. Okay, so la próxima pregunta es ¿por qué esto es importante? Why is having strategies in diversity even important? Like, why is that? I mean, if we're growing as a culture, we're growing as a group in the United States, why diversity? Why is diversity important?
Right. I mean, it's like anything else in life. You have to be intentional about it. Your organization is not going to just become diverse. We still have a lot of systemic issues in the United States that we need to deal with. We have a historic issue of racism and classism and division, even within the church, right? So we have to deal with these issues at a systemic issue in terms of the root of the problem and the root of the issue. And that is, understanding our differences and how they can unite us and bridge us, so that as the human race, we can work together to create a plausible preferred future, which is a better society, right? A society where it's just and peaceful, and a society where people are working together to empower one another, to use our gifts with one another so that we can move our agendas forward. Because let's face it, every leader, every great leader, and Nilda, you understand as you've studied leadership, every great leader in the world has always been part of a team. And the team has always been the diverse people, right? Men, women alike. So that's, for me, that's why it's important.
Right. Okay. Perfect. I have so many questions. So many questions because this is very intriguing to me. I love it. I love what you're doing, and the fact that you use my book, that's awesome. So that's
Yes.
even more exciting. So where do you see Latinos in leadership within the next 10 years? ¿A dónde ves el latino en liderazgo, en posiciones de liderazgo en los próximos 10 años? Because it's really changing. I think we're, I always talk about Latinos as a quiet storm. We're very intentional and very, and we move forward, yet you don't really hear us. We're not a boisterous people, and I think that comes from our culture. So tell me, where do you see it? Where do you see the shift and the direction it's going?
Sí, sí. Yo creo que, bueno, nuestra gente se están educando, nuestra gente están estableciendo negocios, nuestra gente nos estamos metiendo más en la política, estamos metiéndonos más en lo que es el liderazgo social, gubernamental, educacional,
Económico.
económico, en todo eso. Entonces, nosotros tenemos que seguir haciendo eso también. Nosotros que ya estamos en una posición de liderazgo, por nuestro servicio, empoderar a otros, ¿verdad? A darle una carrera para que ellos podrán venir con nosotros, o si son detrás de nosotros, traerlo a este otro nivel, que es educarse, que es enfocarse en sus sueños, a hacerlo una realidad. For me particularly, I feel like the Latino community, in terms of diversity, we can serve as a conduit, almost a bridge. We are a bridge people because we are a mixed people. So we can help even the issues that, let's say, Anglos and African Americans have historically had in this country. Well, we have both, right? Especially Puerto Ricans. We're Indian, Black, and Europe, right? Spanish. So, we can be a conduit in terms of helping, bridging, bringing people together. And I think that our bilingualness, our biculturalness, what we embody, can really serve this nation well. So I speak to all of you who are Latino, Hispanic. You need to wake up. You need to get up. You need to push up. You need to move forward, because this is your season. This is the season for the Latinos. We are going to be the majority in this country sooner or later. We are the fastest growing group in this nation, right? So we don't want to be an ignorant group. We don't want to be a group that is going to be a hindrance to society. We want to be a group that's going to get up and empower others and serve one another and love one another and make a positive influence and impact, right? We want to make an impact. And so that's where I see us going, and this is why I know that I'm so excited about what you're doing, and even having us on this show today, because our voices need to be heard. The community needs to hear that there are other people doing things that possibly they think they can't do, and those are lies. Those have been historic lies. We have been gifted. We have been, we are called to make a difference, and so we need to step into that role and do that, and that's where I see us going.
Right. Okay. One of the things that I discuss in my book that I think is, I really, really try to bring home to Latinos is our emotional intelligence and our very high levels of emotional intelligence, and also our social, our cultural intelligence. I remember one time that I talked to somebody. This was like, my goodness, many years ago. I was in college, and they asked me to like describe myself and how I saw myself as a Latina or as a person, as an individual. And the best way for me to describe it is that I lived on this bridge between two cultures that I was very much a part of, but yet the bridge was what merged them. And I think that, again, of course, as you know, as I studied and I've learned more, I think that's what kind of embraces and what embodies, emotional intelligence, and the fact that, we are like a very strong people. We are by default, we're culturally intelligent, because if we live in any, I mean, we can pretty much, Latinos can pretty much live anywhere and assimilate and yet not lose their culture. There are Latinos like in the Netherlands. I couldn't believe it. Like there's Latinos everywhere around the world. So
Right.
we're really, we're very powerful people.
Right.
So, I totally support what you're saying. So where do you see us in 10 years?
Right. So, I mean, let's say right now by 2020, Latinos are likely to present about 20% of the 18 to 64-year-old age population, and that's close to 25% of the U.S. 18 to 29-year-old population. It's forecasted by 2050 that we will be basically one third of the U.S. population. And last year, 50% of kindergarteners were a majority minority culture. So that's, everybody who's mixed of color, right? In California, Latinos are the majority population already. So, I can go on with statistics and different things, but honestly, in 10 years, I see us, and you know this as a futurist, I see us wherever we make us in terms. Let me explain that. I see us in terms of what we prepare and what we do now, right? So we can be a large and growing population, but if we're not careful, we can also be one that is not aware of its surroundings, is not aware of the possibilities, is not aware of opportunities and strategies that are before us. So we need to continue to get educated, empower one another, serve one another, and give others a platform, right? Because we need to be careful that coming out of, many of us come out of poverty or come out of socioeconomic location that was not so privileged. So when we become, better situated, we cannot forget where we come from, so to say, right? So we need to help those, right? We need to help those others who maybe can't help themselves. So I see that's what I'm seeing and I'm envisioning.
Okay, that's awesome. So, do you see yourself and myself and a lot of Latinos that have made really, made it pretty much crossed that bridge? Do you see us as the pioneers and your spearheaders of liderazgo? Nos ven, como nos ves a nosotros como líderes, porque ahorita mismo somos líderes en nuestras ambiente. Entonces, lo ves como una cosa que nosotros somos lo que tenemos que llevarle la renda, vamos a decir,
Mm.
is that where you see us?
Creo que nosotros como gente latina tenemos que trabajar juntos, como nuestros padres, nuestros abuelos son líderes, ¿verdad? Una dama, una mujer que cría hijos pero no está trabajando vamos a decir, en la sociedad, todavía es líder porque está criando niños, anybody who's managed a house knows how hard that can be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and to form those kids, to
exactly,
develop, that's
exactly.
huge.
And even having homes, right? Healthy homes, that is huge for us. And, if in this near future, we have to break out of the single parent trend. We have to break out of the low education trend. We have to break out of the social welfare trend, right? Of, using social services for a long term, generationally. We have to break out of all of that. And I think it's now. The season is now. We have the opportunities. We have the calling. We have the blessing. We have people like you and me and others who are ahead of us, who are helping communities. So it's now, and so that's where I'm believing. And that's what we're here to do, to serve and empower our people.
Okay. So, as a Latino, how do you find that we're going to make the biggest impact? ¿Cómo piensa, cómo puede el latino tener el más grande o el mayor impacto?
That's a great question. I think for me, what I'm doing, and my wife also, that you will probably have soon in your show,
Oh, she's coming
is
on soon. I can't wait.
is through education, right? So, we are educating because we know historically, minorities and Latinos in particular have been very low represented in the
Mhm.
in higher education. So, you think about people who hold a doctorate in the U.S. Well, that's less than 1%. And then that becomes, 0 points, whatever it is, percent for Latinos. I mean, so, we that's our target market. That's where we're situated. That's where we have been felt that, we're led, right, to be and serve. I can't impose that over the Latino community. I feel like you need to know, or learn, where you're called, how you're gifted, and then serve in that area, because we need our people in all areas. So if it's politics, if it's medicine, if it's law, if it's janitorial, I don't know, if it's entrepreneurship,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
If you want to be a futurist, great,
Yeah.
Hilda can train you in that. Amen.
So can you, Dr. Rios.
Yeah. So, so it depends on where the person, their social location, their family, their tradition, their background, everything, all of that cultivates who you are, where you're going, what you want to be. And so we can talk all day about that, right? So I don't know. How
Right.
about you? What do you think? Because
Um, oh, wow, you're throwing a question back at me.
yeah, throw it back at you.
I think as Latinos, the way that we can be the greatest impact is by becoming leaders in our environment. I have to go. Honestly, I have to go back to the Bible where we each are responsible for our world. Now, physically, it's impossible for us to go throughout the world, right? But I think if each of us takes care of our sphere,
Hmm.
our area, and are a very are an awesome influence in our area, then that's it. Then that's our world. And so and then where that ends, the next person takes care of that world. And I think if we do that, we can pretty much cover the world. So
Right,
I think that's our mission
right,
as Latinos. I think that's our mission as educators. I think that's our mission as educated people. And I think that's our mission. I think that's our God given mission. I think each of us has a responsibility for others. We're not
right,
an island. It's not like I learned, I know this and now I'll keep it to myself and it'll just be for me. I think we're all responsible for one another. So
see,
that's as a person, that's as a Christian, that's as a Latino. It doesn't matter. So to translate that, yo creo que cada uno de nosotros tenemos responsabilidad, una fija responsabilidad para nuestro mundo. Y no es el mundo completo, pero nuestra área, nuestras personas, las personas con cuales nosotros nos comunicamos, tenemos una responsabilidad con ellos para hacer un impacto positivo en
right.
cada alma y cada persona que nosotros tocamos. So,
Uh,
si lo que tú tienes y lo que tú sabes, si tú te lo mantienes cerca y no you don't share it with
mm,
others, de nada te vale.
right. We call that selfishness.
And you're right, but and beyond that though, but I think knowledge is meant to be shared. I think it's
Yes.
meant to be shared. Like, what is the point of you having something that you're keeping? I think it's meant to be shared.
And
So,
I teach a course in global issues, right, at Indiana Wesleyan University, and I was teaching earlier this year in Indianapolis because that's where we were at, and uh, you know, there's the three top languages. I don't know if you know them, but the first one is Chinese, Mandarin.
Mandarin, right?
The second one is
In
Spanish, and then
Spanish,
the third
yes,
one is
is
English. It
English.
used to be flipped, right? English then Spanish, and
Absolutely.
so we
Isn't
have
that
the second
fascinating though
most.
to hear,
It
to learn
is.
that?
It
Oh, that's
is. We
most
have the second most spoken language in the world. So and so then if you speak English as well, which most of us do, English and Spanish, we have the top, second and third languages in the world. Now, if some of our people were to learn Chinese, we really be up in front and leading, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
So
You know what
don't
I
be
thought was
afraid to
very
learn it.
Yeah, you know
Uh-huh.
what I thought was very fascinating. I have friends. I came from a very diverse church. I went
Mm,
to church in Brooklyn Tabernacle, and there's like all different, ethnicities and cultures. And we had a pastor that was Filipino, and they said that in the Philippines, any person that's educated knows 5 languages, not just like book, but they're actually conversational, and they could speak to us in Spanish. They knew Tagalog, they knew 5 languages: English, Spanish, and French, and one other, of course, I don't remember. But the thing is that that's their educational system, that they actually teach them 5 languages, how to speak it, write it, and be fluent. So I thought that was so, bilingualism is like small potatoes, and at least we have that.
No, yeah, I mean, it's not, and I would say it's not small potatoes in the sense that I know what you're saying, but let me just say this: like when I was growing up, I was kind of intimidated or didn't want to speak Spanish because I was here in America. That was a colonization mentality, right? Because historically, America, even when took over Puerto Rico in 1898, wanted to make the island English-speaking island, right? And wanted to take the Spanish identity and language, but Puerto Rican people did not have that, right? So growing up here, you can have an ambivalence of identity, but you need to, los latinos que me están escuchando, los jóvenes, you have to appreciate your culture, learn the language, because that's going to serve you.
La lengua.
Yes, you're going to go further in life if you're bilingual. The only country in the whole world, right, that does not promote or really push people to learn another language is America. That's it. And there's a funny joke out there that says, what is a person who only speaks one language? And you can guess everything. Goes, it's an American. And it's true, so, we're American. That's great. At the same time, you mentioned the Bible, we're citizens of heaven, right? So, all the languages are God's and all humanity is God's. So, you know what? I appreciate and love all languages. I wish I could speak them all,
I know.
but I don't, but I just speak two and I try to learn, and so, we have to do that. We have to cultivate Latino culture, and people can be bilingual. And there's different places and spaces of influence that, like you said, Nilda, I may not be able to get to with my influence, with my grace, with my gifting, but you will, or vice versa, So that's where the beauty of diversity is at.
Y todos tenemos una responsabilidad para nuestro ambiente, our world, whatever that world may be. If each of us, I think, knows a minimum of 6,000 people. So we're responsible, but we touch different people, different lives at different levels. Some people we know better, other people, but we need to make an impact no matter where we go, because that's our responsibility. I really believe I believe that that's part of our calling. So,
right.
So at any rate, okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to open up the lines now. If they can call us at 845-485-1390. Si nos pueden llamar y tienen pregunta para el Dr. Rios, al 845-485-1390. Con preguntas, comentarios, whatever, please call us. And we're going to go into a very short commercial, and we will be back in, I don't know, less than 5 minutes. Okay? I do. Okay. We're gonna cut that in a few minutes. We're gonna cut it, because these songs just go on and on.
You said commercial. That's why I thought you.
No, and then we're gonna do the commercial, right? Oh, you don't?
No, because now we're in the next hour. So yours are gone. Well, they were, but we took care of it before. So because now it's after.
Okay. All right. So we'll just do this for a few minutes and. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so when we do come back here, we should just re-mention the traffic, because we are on the radio, and just say that it costs you really, it's going to cost you really, and just say that, I'm going to look up and see if there's an actual music for it.
Okay. So there are no commercials for Ruben.
Not for the first hour, yeah. I mean, I can play. I have like the Cedar Ricos and something else I can play. Do you want me to play?
Huh?
Do you want me
to play? Okay, then just throw a commercial in there. So we're gonna finish. Okay. Mm-hmm.
How long is your song?
The song is long, but we're gonna cut it in about another half minute. You know, as soon as you phase it out, then we're good. Stop it.
I just want to see if we can find it.
Okay. We have like a few more seconds, and then we can. Okay. Okay, ready? Lower that.
Cositas ricas, Mexican and American Rios. Te invita a que vengas a probar nuestras riquísimas ensaladas de frutas frescas.
You can turn down the volume underneath you.
Nieves de sabores
You can turn down the volume underneath you.
Oh.
Here?
Yeah, where your headphones are plugged in. It changes it in your headphones. That's what I was trying to tell you before.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness, yes. Thank you.
We have like 9 seconds.
And we're back. So this is Dr. Nilda Radio, and I am interviewing the awesome Dr. Rios. I want to also let everyone know that there is a tremendous traffic. There's some construction on the bridge, and unfortunately this was why I was 40 minutes late. So the program coming after me on La Línea Informativa is also going to be late. So I'm going to try to hold the program until they get here. And I'm really, again, very excited to have Dr. Rios here. And I have like a bunch of more questions for him. So we're going to try to, we're going to kind of hold off till they get here. So here's another question that I have, Dr. Rios. Again, as this demographic changes in the U.S., and we probably kind of touched upon this, but I want you to elaborate maybe a little bit more. How does this demographic shift, how is this going to affect the Latinos in the near future? Because this shift is kind of happening fast and furious. So how do you see this impacting?
The Latino community in particular?
Well, yeah, how is this demographic going to, I don't think so much, I mean, I think, yes, the Latino community, but I think the U.S. as a whole. How is this shift going to affect Latinos? And, again, how is it going to, what is the impact, or what is, is it going to be positive? Is it going to be negative?
Well, obviously, we want to be optimistic, and as futurists, we want to influence the future. So I'm going to say it's going to be very positive.
Okay.
But it's going to be as positive as we make it, right? So that's why I keep sigo, tú sabes, poniendo énfasis en que nosotros tenemos que educarnos, tenemos que prepararnos, Tenemos que, no, o sea, no solamente, siempre tenemos que estar preparados, porque la gente dice, no, yo me voy a preparar cuando me llamen. No, tú tienes que estar preparado ahora, ¿verdad? Entonces, para nosotros eso es la clave, es prepararnos ahora para que cuando tenemos o nos llamemos para la oportunidad, podemos decirle aquí, podemos ser utilizados. So that's, you know, the one major thing that we need as Latinos in the U.S. to be ready. I think that the greater question, another question, is how is that going to impact the U.S., right? Because that's huge. We're going to be the largest. We are already the largest minority.
And no, that's kind of like an oxymoron, right?
Yeah.
We're the largest minority. Like, doesn't minority mean smaller? But yeah, you're right. We are the largest minority.
Right. And so, we need to, continue to grow, but not only grow in numbers, grow in knowledge, grow, in voting, right? We're still the lowest represented in voting, let's say, and voting is around the corner, right, for this presidency election. So we need to get out and vote. Our vote is very important. Listen to this statistic. 1 out of 3 Latinos is Spanish dominant, while more than half of U.S. born Latinos are English dominant. So, that there's how is it going to be for U.S.? Well, there's been talk about making U.S. A bilingual country, right? Because Spanish, let's face it, it continues to increase in the U.S. and the Spanish culture is also influencing the U.S. So I think there's going to be some adjustments, some shifts, and I'm glad that we'll be here in 10 years to see what's going on.
Yeah. Okay, so el impacto que este cambio demográfico del latino va a tener, quiero para nuestra audiencia latina, si puedes, dar un short synopsis, say in Spanish.
Claro. Para nosotros, yo creo que en 10 años vamos a ver más latinos educados, más latinos profesionales, más latinos en la empresa, más latinos en liderazgo, en la política, latinos, familias que son saludables, ¿verdad? Que tienen los 2 padres, que están moviendo en un nivel positivo para el movimiento social. Vamos a ver latinos que van a servir a otros, van a empoderar a otros, van a votar, ¿verdad? Para tener votos. Vamos a ver una sociedad latina unida, porque también hemos tenido división antes entre nuestras culturas, pero tenemos que dejar eso porque sabemos que donde hay diversidad hay prosperidad, hay innovación, ¿verdad?
Perfecto.
Innovation comes with diversity, so let's work at that.
Let's work, right. Let's work together. Perfecto. Okay. ¿Qué debe hacer el latino para prepararse para este gran cambio en liderazgo? Y liderazgo, lo que me encanta es que tú no solamente dices liderazgo no solamente en el educado, pero en todas empresas, en organizaciones, en iglesias, porque este cambio le afecta a todos. En el liderazgo, en la posición de liderazgo que tenga. Le afecta a todos, right? So what should Latinos be doing to prepare for this great shift in leadership roles? Because it's coming.
Right. Para mí, soy un hombre de fe, entonces tengo que hablar de mi fe, porque necesitamos más gente que tengan ética, ¿verdad? Que tengan la mentalidad y madurez saludable. Y yo creo que eso viene del Señor. No quiero ser hablar mucho de fe aquí porque hay gente que no creen, pero soy hombre de fe y creo que sin Dios, pues, las cosas son difíciles, pero sabemos que aquellos que han confiado en Dios, pues nada es imposible, porque estamos con el Dios Todopoderoso. Así que, número 1 es tener nuestra fe, y mayormente todos los latinos tienen, son gente religiosa, tienen fe y son gente que vive, que creen en Dios. La otra cosa es, pues, educarnos. Tenemos que saber lo que está pasando, no solamente en nuestro ambiente, si es Nueva York, si es California, si es Texas, si es Florida, pero tenemos que saber lo que está pasando en los otros estados y por el mundo completo, porque eso, la economía y los movimientos y los trends, ¿verdad? Que están cambiando.
Tendencias.
Sí, eso afecta a nuestra gente. Entonces tenemos que saber, tenemos que meternos más en la política. Tenemos que entender que la política nos afecta. La iglesia es una que, pues, históricamente en esta nación, pues, se separaron, pero realmente sabemos que tú y yo no nos podemos separar. Somos una persona, pero estamos en muchos diferentes movimientos y zonas de influencia. Tenemos que entender eso también, que en la vida realmente no se separa, ¿verdad?
No, there are no separations. Absolutely.
Right.
The one thing that we learn as futurists, and one of the tools that we use is the STEEP model. That we need to be well-rounded, and whether that's an organization, a church, or an industry, we need to know what is going to impact that, and it's always social, technological, environmental, economical, and political. And any one of those that you leave out is going to make is going to make a difference. I know that a few years back, like in 2007, the economy really helped, or had either a positive or negative impact on real estate brokers.
Right.
So they had to make that shift, and they had to make that readjustment. Some just picked up where they left off, and others, were really at a loss because they had like one way of doing things. So the economy and politics, because politics it affects everything. So, I love the fact that you say, yes, Latinos, we need to be proactive, and we need to vote, and we need to know what the politics are. What are the things, what do these people stand for? What do these parties stand for, and how are they going to impact us? So
out of the STEEP model that you're talking about, for me, and in my business, we focus, and in my ministry, I focus on the S, the social cultural. That's my niche. That's, the diversity issue, right? That's, the intercultural dynamics of and complexity of humanity. That's where I am passionate about. That's what I love. That's what I'm studying. That's what I'm researching. That's what I'm teaching, right? So, but maybe somebody who's listening says, I'm not really passionate about that. I don't really have a drive for that. Well, maybe it's technology, especially, the younger generation, the millennials. Maybe it has to be technology. Okay, well, great. We need Latinos in technology. We need Latinos to, there's a lot of companies looking, I don't know if you know this, but my wife shared this with me recently, that one of the most sought after positions in companies is a CTO, Chief Technology Officer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we need folks in that. We need folks in the environment, right? Environmental studies and helping the earth, right? Go green. And then politics. We need some political leaders, some ethical, political women and men leaders who would take this nation to another level. So, yeah, if you're listening, that STEEP model Dr. Perez is talking about is so important, because you can find yourself in one of those. And you don't have to know them all. You just know one and be well in that. And together, again, we come together, as a team, and we will make a good impact.
Okay, awesome. So, we have gone over our designated time. Unfortunately, we started late. But Dr. Rios, I definitely want to have you back, because I have about 5 more questions that I want to ask you. And so I am going to talk to you after the show, and we're going to try to figure out how to bring you back, because I think this is an awesome topic para el Latino, and I just think this is perfect. I'm going to do things a little different. I will be doing that interview, and I will be doing a Facebook Live, and I will be attaching it to this, but I will be doing that at probably at a later time, maybe, I don't know, later today or tomorrow. I will be doing that. I definitely want to have you back, and hopefully you'll come back, because it's really important. Your topic is riveting. It's really important, and it's something that El Latino has to know. So if you want to get a hold of Dr. Rios, you will go to www.riosconsultants.com, and I want you to see what he has there, and if you have questions or you want to get a hold of him, this is the best way to get a hold of him. I want to thank you, Dr. Rios, for coming on, and for a lovely job that you did, and thank you for your patience. I thank you you're in California, so you had to get up extra early for this, and then it was late. So I really thank you. Tip my hat to you. I need to take you out to lunch or something. How am I going to do that? Is another story. That's another story, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, we'll definitely. And I want to talk a little bit about next week's guest, who is Jorge Boret. He is the CEO of Hoops. This is another fascinating guy who's doing great things for kids. He's the CEO of Hoops and Sports for All, which is for this. He's doing a lot of stuff with kids educationally, with sports, and kind of bringing it all together. So again, I look forward to seeing you guys next week, and hopefully the traffic or this bridge thing will be done. I'm going to try to get here super early. I don't know how much earlier. I'll be up at 4 a.m, right? Oh my goodness. But at any rate, so, all right. And I, want to close out by thanking everyone for being here. Thank you, Dr. Rios, and look forward to seeing you again.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. I want to thank you for being with us on Business Foresight, always creating strategies towards an extraordinary future. Remember, I'm here with you with strategies every Saturday. I'll see you next week.